Bridges, they serve as vital transportation links but can also be magnificent feats of engineering, art, and architecture too. These bridges showcase the beauty and ingenuity of human design. So, join me for today's video. I'm gonna count down the 15 coolest bridges from around the world. 15. Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge. China's Zhangjiajie National Forest Park is full of natural wonders that draw thousands of visitors a day, from misty forests to towering sandstone pillars. It's even been said that the Tianxi mountain range here even inspired the scenery of James Cameron's Avatar. But it's not rock formations or trees that tourists have been clamoring at recently. Instead, they're here for the 400-foot-long, 900-foot-high glass bridge. This bridge, which opened in the summer of 2016, comes as part of a trend in glass suspension structures, which leave very little to the imagination as you look down. There's Brave Men's Bridge, located in the same natural preserve as the Zhangjiajie Bridge, as well as a swath of other Chinese glass bridges after its opening. Though authorities assured the public the crack in the glass was merely superficial and no one was in any danger, it's understandable why people were scared. When the Zhangjiajie Bridge was unveiled, a number of public events were staged to prove the bridge's sturdiness, including driving a car across it and whacking the glass panes with sledgehammers. The bridge withstood the test, but to ensure safety, only 600 to 800 people are allowed to partake in its glass wonder at any given time. Number 14. Milao Viaduct. Thanks to a strange technicality, Milao Viaduct is the world's tallest bridge, a claim based on the height of the towers, which are taller than the Eiffel Tower. So at its highest point, the bridge reaches 1,104 feet. The height of the bridge deck itself is only the 17th tallest in the world, yet driving over it, it still feels like you're literally in the clouds. This cable-stay bridge is on the E11, a popular motorway route between Calais and the French and Spanish Mediterranean coasts. It's 890 feet from the road doors. As one might expect, the construction of the Milao Viaduct broke several records, claiming some not-so-exciting titles like Megastructure Bridge constructed several hundred meters above the ground, without any loss of life throughout the 3-year construction period. It did become the highest bridge tower in the world, with the road deck being at 890 feet above the ground. Number 13. The Golden Bridge. Not to be confused with San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, the Golden Bridge in Hau Phu, Vietnam, looks like Snake Way come to life. This unique structure, backdropped by beautiful scenery, makes for a stunning sight as if it was plucked from a fantasy world. The giant hands supporting the bridge symbolize something divine, mythical, or godlike, lifting up humanity into the heavens. The bridge's principal architect, Vu Viet An, has even said the goal of the design was to invoke the sensation of walking along a thread stretching through the hands of God. It looks like they achieved that. Building this footbridge was an engineering challenge in its own right, because newest addition to the Sun World Bana Hills Amusement Park, 18 miles west of Da Nang. Number 12. Kaju Bridge. Humans have lived along the banks of the Zayanda-Rud River for thousands of years, with the earliest evidence of their settlements dating back over 6 millennia. One of these settlements prospered and eventually became Isfahan, home to the Kaju Bridge, which connects the Kaju and Takte Fulad quarters across the Zanda-Rud River in Iran. The exact date of the bridge's completion isn't recorded, but it is known it was built on top of an older bridge around 1650. The structure consists of 23 stone arches. It's about 430 feet long and nearly 40 feet wide, and it functions as both a bridge and a weir. The sluice gates built under the archways are still used to this day to regulate the flow of the river for irrigation. The upper part of the bridge consists of a large central aisle originally designed for horse-drawn carts flanked on either side by a pedestrian walk. The ingenuity interplay of vaults and inlets provides an intricate pattern through which air. Shaban Delmas Bridge is over 1,800 feet long, with 1,420 feet serving as the main deck and another 380 feet serving as the central lift span. The central section of the bridge remains in one piece, but lifts vertically by 360 feet in order to let tall ships pass underneath. It's a pretty unique bridge that takes the concept of a drawbridge, flips it on its head, and simplifies it substantially. The bridge is being put into place along the Garonne in France to connect the Bastide district of the Bordeaux city center near its wharves with the Bacalan district on the right bank of the city. The bridge has been named after a former Bordeaux mayor, Jacques Chaban-Delmas. Work on the project began in September 2009, and construction wrapped up in 2013. A pair of pylons on each side of the drawbridge section stretch over 250 feet high and are supported by concrete bases both 140 feet long, 59 feet wide, and 54 feet high. Each base section weighs around 1.5 tons. So while it may not look like much at first glance, the peak of Gunung Mat Chingkan on Palau Langkawi, the main island of the Langkawi archipelago in Kedah. To get to the Langkawi Sky Bridge, you first need to hop on the Langkawi cable car to the top station, where an inclined lift called the Sky Glide takes visitors from the top station down to the bridge. The bridge was closed in July 2012 for maintenance and upgrading. The curved section of the bridge is suspended by 4 pairs of front stay cables, connected to outrigger hanging points located on the ends of the 3 curved 83-foot sections in a semi-fan array from the top of a 275-foot-high single pylon. The curved bridge deck hangs with its center of gravity directly below its point of suspension at the pylon head and at the top of the deck at an elevation of 2,165 feet above sea level. The pylon is anchored into a concrete pad set at an elevation of just under 2,000 feet, and its tip reached 2,250 feet above sea level. It's tilted from the vertical in 2 planes and stabilized by 2 main back K stables anchored into opposite hillsides. The 2 ends of the curved bridge deck are named the Capilano Tramps to mark themselves as the adventurous types who would dare to cross the swaying bridge. The crude original version was upgraded to a wire cable bridge in 1903. Then in 1910, the property was sold and began changing hands over the years, as each subsequent owner built the bridge's reputation as a world-class adventure tourism destination. The span was completely rebuilt in 1956 and is now under the purview of a small chain of rustic tourist attractions. The bridge has come a long way since the time of these turn-of-the-century adventurers. The Capilano Suspension Bridge continues to draw crowds of visitors every year, and it's ranked as one of Vancouver's most popular destinations. On the west side of the bridge is the Treetop Adventures Canopy Walk, which consists of 8 wooden bridges suspended between a number of huge Douglas fir trees over 100 feet in the air. Bridges are secured to the trees not through nails or bolts that would damage the trees, but through specially engineered steel collars. Once removed, these collars will have done no damage to the host trees at all, being as if they were never there. But not to be outdone, in 2011, the number 8, Royal Gorge Bridge. The Royal Gorge Bridge is a famous tourist attraction near Canyon City, Colorado, within the Royal Gorge Bridge and Park, a 360-acre amusement park located along the perilous edge of the Royal Gorge around both ends of the bridge. The bridge crosses the gorge 955 feet above the Arkansas River and held the record for the highest bridge in the world from 1929 until 2001, when it was surpassed by the Lunguanghe Bridge in China. This Royal Gorge Bridge maintained the title of the world's highest suspension bridge until the Beipan River Guanxing Highway Bridge was completed in 2003, also in China. But the bridge remains the highest bridge in the United States and was among the 10 highest bridges in the world until 2012. The main span of the bridge between the 2 towers is an incredible 880 feet, with a total length of 1,260 feet and a width of 18 feet, with the tower standing 150 feet high. The steel base structure is covered with 1,292 wooden planks. The bridge is pretty stellar. It was added in 2003, with riders being swung out over the edge of the gorge. Number 7. The Living Root Bridges of Meghalaya. These next bridges on our list is as perilous as they are cool. A living root bridge is a type of simple suspension bridge formed of living plant roots by tree shaping. They are common in the southern part of the northeast Indian state of Meghalaya. They're handmade from the aerial roots of rubber fig trees by the indigenous groups of the mountainous terrain along the southern part of the Shillong Plateau. Most of the bridges grow on steep slopes of subtropical moist broadleaf forests between 160 and 3,700 feet above sea level. As long as the tree from which it's formed remains healthy, the roots in the bridge can naturally grow thick and strengthen. New roots can grow throughout the tree's life and must be pruned or manipulated to strengthen the bridge. Once mature, some bridges can have as many as 50 or more people crossing at a time and have a lifespan of several hundred years. But without proper active care, many bridges, modern marvel took the top spot for the longest floating bridge in the world. The bridge spans a whopping 7,710 feet across Lake Washington and is wide enough to accommodate 6 lanes of vehicles. But how is something that long and wide able to withstand that much weight on a daily basis? Well, the Evergreen Point Floating Bridge uses 77 concrete pylons as its foundation, so the weight of the water that's being displaced by the pontoons is equal to the weight of the structure, which is what allows it to float. The idea of a floating bridge may be scary to most people, but don't worry, because this spectacle of engineering is pretty safe. It almost makes you wish you'd pay more attention in high school math class. The roadway's elevated 20 feet above the water, and seeing as how the bridge floats on the water, it uses 58 separate anchors to keep everything in place. Number 5. Eshima Ohashi Bridge. Alright, the next entry on our list feels more like a roller coaster than it does a bridge. Located in the Chugoku region of Honshu in the western part of Japan, the Eshima Ohashi Bridge connects Saikiminato to the roller coaster bridge because of its super steep slope and the appearance of being a bridge to the sky. The bridge is a 2-lane concrete road. It rises so sharply it gives even the bravest of drivers some fear, featuring a ridiculously steep slope that allows ships to pass underneath. The concrete road spans a mile and sends drivers straight into the sky, and then suddenly drops off. With a gradient of 5.1% on the Tottori Prefecture side and 6.1% on the Shimane Prefecture side, it's said to be the steepest bridge in the world. Number 4. Sidu River Bridge. When it comes to impressive feats of architecture and infrastructure, China has proven time and time again that it's got a handle on things. The Sidu River Bridge hangs over 1,600 nauseating feet above a canyon floor, connecting what amounts to 2 mountain tops. Opened in 2009, the Sidu River Bridge beat out the previous record-holding span, the Hejigio Gorge Pipeline Bridge in Papua New Guinea, which is suspended just over 1,200 feet in the ground. The Sidu Bridge was part of China's ever-expanding makeup. The bridge should be more than adequate to hold any amount of vehicles that might want to make the trip across. Number 3. Bamboo Bridge of Kampong Cham. A bridge doesn't have to be made of sturdy stone or high-tech glass or soar above the clouds to be amazing. In fact, one of the coolest bridges in the world is also one of the simplest, the Bamboo Bridge of Kampong Cham. This bamboo bridge is seasonal. It's built every dry season when the waters of the Mekong River recede and become too shallow for the ferry. Then at the start of each rainy season, before the rivers swell, the bridge is dismantled by hand and the bamboo is stored away for reuse and other projects. They do this because during the wet season, the river currents become too strong for the bridge to survive. Boats then ferry people across the river instead. Once the waters have receded low enough and currents have subdued, construction on a new bridge commences. First, tall bamboo poles are rammed into the riverbed and a layer of split bamboo matting is laid on top to make the surface. More poles at different angles brace the foundation, and the bridge is strong and wide enough to support the weight of light. Almost 50% of Green City is covered in greenery, and the lush environments are supported by a focus on renewable energy and future sustainability. Part of this interconnected system is the Southern Ridges, a 6.2-mile trail in the south of the city. It's also where you'll find the Henderson Waves, the highest pedestrian bridge in Singapore. Completed in 2008, the Henderson Waves Bridge is the most impressive of all the bridges along the Ridges Trail. It connects Mount Faber Park to Telok Bangla Hill Park, stretching for 899 feet and reaching a height of 118 feet above Henderson Road. It also looks pretty cool. The bridge's most notable feature is its organic wave-like design. The walkway itself is formed by slats of yellow bala wood sourced from certified sustainable timber farms in East Malaysia, and around this flow the titular snake-like waves. The waves are formed by 7 undulating curved steel ribs that at various stages rise over or beneath the walkway. In some sections, the wave flows higher over the bridge, forming alcoves that provide sheltered seating areas for passing pedestrians than it does on Earth. Still, China is notorious for building some pretty cool bridges. Initially, the wonky walkway are about 460 feet above the ground, and the glass-bottom structure, which is 1,400 feet long and suspended 1,000 feet above ground level, was first opened in 2016. Since September 2020, the unbelievable bridge has been open to the public, but it didn't seem to get too much coverage outside of China until former Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield